Okay, what else is in this compilation? Let's win one for the Gipper. Here we got SAR. You're gonna get SARS if you watch this video. Turn back now while you still can. Ooh. So the plot of this one is basically the same as the plot to the movie Event Horizon. There's a scary spaceship. Although this came first by a decade, so I guess Event Horizon ripped off SNK. 2 men have been sent inside. 2 men, huh? That's kinda gay. Anyway, you ever hear that thing about that special extended cut of Event Horizon where they found it in a salt mine in Transylvania? Yeah, that was real crazy. Speaking of crazy, the gore in this is just utterly excessive. Look at that. Good lord. I would say this is like Alien Storm for the Genesis, but Alien Storm never took it that far, for God's sake. Feels a bit Rick and Morty-esque. You know, they'll have a scene where somebody gets hit with a laser gun and it's just like a bunch of nasty gibbous flying everywhere. Guess that's just kind of a common theme with sci-fi. But yeah, this does share a lot of similarities with Alien Storm on the Genesis. Both have twangy music and cool guns and a big muscle guy and a bunch of nasty H.R. Geiger-esque looking aliens. But once again, I think this one came first too. Revolutionary. That thing looks like a xenomorph, doesn't it? When I said this was H.R. Geiger-esque, I meant it. You don't even have to fight the enemies, you can just leave. Highly unusual for a game of this era to make the fights just totally optional. Most games don't even do that today. You ever see that thing where Donkey thought that all the fights were optional in Dragon Quest XI and then he was super underleveled and he just got totally wrecked? It would be funny if it wasn't so completely infuriating. How did he even get that idea in his head? I don't get it. So yeah, what is it with games of this era all being inspired by H.R. Geiger's Aliens? There's this, there's Alien Storm, there's that other Alien game for the Master System where you're in the Calliope and you have to rescue the people, and I'm sure there are a multitude of others. Well, I guess it was just a popular movie at the time. Very easy to rip off the theme without actually ripping off copyright laws, so just an easy way to put recognizable characters in your property. Anyway, next up we're going to look at Psycho Soldier. This one is an important milestone in gaming history because it's the first game to have a vocal track. You'll get to hear that in a moment. There's 2 characters on the title screen, but I don't know how you would play as the second one. Just seems to pick one for you, and it's always the same. I do not understand. So yeah, how about this vocal track, huh? It's a good remix of this in Smash Bros. Back in the day. The lyrics in this feel rather reminiscent of a quote-unquote magical girl anime, as they call them. Lots of mentions of power inside and shining bright and all of that. Sounds like something you'd hear in Sailor Moon or perhaps Magical Princess Minky Momo. There is a top-tier weeb reference. Magical Princess Minky Momo. There was a weird thing that happened with that show where they took it off the air for like 10 years because there was a superstition after one episode aired, and there was an enormous earthquake that followed immediately afterwards. They thought, oh, we better not air this. This was the cause of the earthquake. So they didn't air the show for 10 years. And then when they did try to air it again 10 years later, there was another earthquake after that episode. And Maybe Magical Princess Minky Momo truly is cursed. Speaking of cursed, have you guys watched the Clone High reboot at all? God, I don't know why that was as upsetting to me as it was. They just let Twitter people write it. It's just awful. Absolutely awful. Why can't they write something, I don't know, respectable and timeless, like Wallace and Gromit? Wallace and Gromit, you got a man tied to toy train tracks and an evil chicken who's gonna hit him with the toy train. I think it's been many years since I last saw it. I'm just going off of memory. What other games we got here? Oh yeah, we'll do Ikari Warriors, just like AVGN did that one time. Where did their hair go? Classic reference. Anyway, continuing my thought with Wallace and Gromit, there's a different show that I've been watching, and this one guy just has this weird obsession with Wallace and Gromit, and you think it's a recent thing, and then you go back to different episodes from like 3 months ago, and he's talking about Wallace and Gromit then, too. You just wonder, when did this start? There's just no escaping it. Anyway, so, this one's definitely Rambo-inspired. The theme of this video seems to be games that were inspired by movies. At first we had Aliens, and now this. I think there was also that Sega game back in the day that was inspired by Conan the Barbarian. That was just what game developers did back in the day. They made games that were like their favorite movies, but slightly different, so they didn't get sued. It seems like you could break the relationship between games and movies into 3 different eras. Early gamings, you had these sort of rip-offs where it's like the movie but not quite. And then mid-stage gaming, you had the era of movie tie-ins where THQ would make a fucking Wallace and Gromit Curse of the Were-Rabbit the game. And then modern day, the movie tie-ins aren't even a thing anymore. It's too expensive to make them as development costs get higher and higher and higher, and no one wants to spend millions of dollars on the PS4 port of what's a recent movie, Strange World the game. God, who was the target audience for that movie? Honestly, no. So yeah, AVGN famously played this game back in the day, and the guitar guy, Kyle Justin Music, climbed out from behind that couch that he's always behind, and they had that iconic moment, where did their hair go? I knew a guy back in the day, and his mom was super strict about what he could watch on the internet, but secretly he was watching all the same stuff that I was, and he knew about the where did their hair go, and even when that was like a recent episode from like a week ago, and that was just such a moment of pride that secretly we were on the same page about things despite everything. I don't know what that tank does. It says in, but I couldn't seem to actually climb in the tank and do anything with it. And then shooting it didn't seem to do much either. Apologies for my gross incompetence, for all you Ikari Warriors fans out there. Okay, you know what? Most of the games in this compilation aren't even good. Let's just cut it off here.